Snow was coming down in sharp, wind-driven sheets when Detective Evan Mercer pulled up to the Fir Ridge Sheriff's substation. It was December 23rd, technically the night before Christmas Eve, but no one in Fir Ridge called it that. Around here, winter blurred holidays into a single stretch of white and silence, and the storm only deepened the isolation. Fir Ridge was a mountain town in northern Washington. Population 2,931. A place where people supposedly came to escape trouble, though trouble seemed to have an uncanny talent for finding them anyway. Mercer killed the engine and sat in the quiet warmth of the car for a moment, watching snow swirl violently across the parking lot. He had transferred here 6 months earlier from Seattle, following a very public, very messy internal dispute involving a botched hostage negotiation. Fir Ridge was supposed to be his reset button. Instead, it became a pressure cooker. The radio crackled. "Mercer, you inside yet? We've got a situation," Deputy Cara Holland said, urgency clipped into her voice. Mercer grabbed his coat and stepped into the storm. Inside, Holland stood stiff beside the central desk. "We just got a call from the Lorne family. Their daughter, Emily, didn't come home tonight after her choir rehearsal." Mercer frowned. "Snow like this? Did she maybe stay with a friend?" Her mom checked. No one's seen her since rehearsal ended at 6:30. It was now 8:12 p.m. "Age?" Mercer asked, though he already knew the answer. Every year, the Christmas choir featured kids aged 8 to 12. 11, Hollins replied. A missing child in a blizzard? It was exactly the kind of case Mercer had hoped he'd never see again. "Okay," he said, settling into his role. "Let's start." The community center was one of the few buildings still glowing with warm light. Mercer and Hollins trudged through the drifts to reach it. The storm was getting worse, blowing snow, ice pellets, visibility dropping by the minute. Inside, the director of the Fir Ridge Christmas Choir, Marion Weller, waited anxiously. "She was here," Marion said. "Emily never missed a rehearsal. She left with her music binder. She was wearing her red coat, the one with the fur hood. I saw her walk out at exactly 6:32. "Did anyone go with her?" Mercer asked. "She said her mom was picking her up outside. But Emily's mother, Susan Lorne, later insisted she had arrived at 6:40, and Emily wasn't there. Someone was lying, or misremembering." "Did anyone else leave around the same time?" Mercer asked. Marion's eyes flicked away. "Yes, Mr. Halbridge." Mercer's jaw tightened slightly. He had seen Halbridge's name before. "Stan Halbridge?" he asked. Marion nodded. "He volunteers with the lighting and stage setup. He left right after Emily. I thought nothing of it." Stan Halbridge was 43, a handyman with an old trespassing charge and a history of alcohol-related disturbances. Nothing violent as far as Mercer knew, but enough to raise red flags. "And his truck?" Hollins asked. "Still there when I left," Marion said, "but I didn't look closely." The storm pounded the windows. Mercer knew time was slipping. They found Halbridge's truck buried in snow outside his house. The man himself opened the door shirtless, confused, smelling of beer. "What? What happened?" he slurred. "Stan, do you know where Emily Lorne is?" Mercer asked bluntly. "Who?" "The choir girl you left rehearsal after." Halbridge frowned, thinking hard. I left early, for groceries. I got home around 7, haven't been out since." "Anyone who can confirm that?" Hollins asked. He shrugged. "Just me." His eyes were bleary but not evasive. Mercer had questioned enough drunken men to know the difference. Still, something felt off. "Stan, we may need to search your place," Mercer said. Halbridge sighed. "Go ahead, I've got nothing to hide." And he didn't. No sign of a child, no red coat, no music binder, nothing suspicious, other than a lonely man who drank too much. As they stepped back into the storm, Mercer felt dread curling in his chest. The blizzard was now swallowing footprints within minutes. If Emily had walked anywhere, the odds were brutal. By midnight, volunteers were out with thermal drones, dogs, and searchlights, but the storm made everything slow. At 12:47 p.m., a deputy radioed in. "We found something off Timber Road. Looks like fabric." Mercer and Hollins arrived 15 minutes later. Half buried in a drift was Emily's red coat. No blood, no tears, no damage. And that made it worse. "This was placed here," Mercer said softly, "not dropped." Hollins nodded. "But why would anyone drive out during this storm? Unless they already planned to." For the first time tonight, Mercer felt chills unrelated to the weather. At 1:25 a.m., they reached a remote cabin on Timber Road. Lights were on, smoke curled from the chimney. Mercer recognized the address. Dr. Caleb Wright, retired forensic psychiatrist, a man known for his brilliance and his reclusiveness. Fir Ridge folks joked he was more ghost than neighbor. Wright opened the door before they knocked. "Detectives," he said, "I assume this is about the girl." Mercer's pulse sharpened. "What do you know about that, Dr. Wright?" Wright leaned on his cane. "I saw something tonight, around 7. A car stopped near my property." "What car?" "A silver sedan, newer model, lights off." "Did you see who was inside?" Wright nodded slowly. "A man in a dark jacket, hood up. He got out, took something from the back seat, small, bundled." Mercer felt ice slide down his spine. "Did the person struggle?" "No," Wright said, "but they looked limp." "Why didn't you call us immediately?" Hollins asked sharply. Wright's expression was unreadable. "Because I wasn't sure if what I saw was real. These storms, they distort things. At my age, so does the mind." He tapped his temple. "And," Wright added, lowering his voice, "because the man looked familiar." Mercer stepped closer. "Who was it?" Wright hesitated. Finally, he whispered, "I think it was your sheriff." Sheriff Tom Rauch was a 30-year veteran, blunt, respected, known for his integrity. The idea that he could be involved felt absurd. But something had been off with him since Mercer joined, a tension Mercer couldn't explain. At 2 a.m., Mercer and Hollins returned to the station. Rauch was there, looking exhausted and angry. "Any sign of the girl?" he asked. Mercer watched his face closely. "We found her coat." Rauch swallowed hard. "Damn it, where?" "Timber Road." Rauch paused, too long, too carefully, before speaking. "That far out, she couldn't have walked there." "Agreed," Mercer replied. "Someone placed it." Rauch slammed a fist on the desk. "Then we're dealing with a kidnapping." "Maybe," Mercer said quietly. "Where were you around 7 tonight, Sheriff?" Rauch turned slowly. "Excuse me?" Mercer asked. "We received a report that a man matching your build and jacket was seen near Timber Road, taking something from his car." Hollins went still. Rauch's eyes narrowed. "You accusing me, Mercer?" "Just asking." Rauch stepped closer, face tense with fury. "You listen to me. I was at home. I had dinner with my wife. After that, I was on the phone with the mayor. You can check both." "All right," Mercer said. "We will." "Good," Rauch exhaled sharply, "because I'm not the damned kidnapper." But his hands were shaking. At 3:40 a.m., Hollins returned from interviewing Rook's wife. She says he was home from about 5:45 until 9. Says she remembers because they argued about the Christmas budget. "Okay," Mercer said. "But," Hollins hesitated, "she said he left briefly around 6:40 to get air. Only 5 minutes, she claims." Mercer's jaw locked. That's enough time to make a quick stop, especially if he knew the back roads. "You think the sheriff took Emily?" Hollins whispered. "I don't know," Mercer said, "but he's hiding something." By dawn, the storm eased. A drone located tire tracks leading off Timber Road. The vehicle had pulled into the woods, turned around, then driven away. The tracks matched a sedan, not Halbridge's pickup. They followed the path to a small clearing. At the center was a storage shed, old and half buried in snow. Mercer's heart pounded as they forced the door open. Inside, they found snow-damp footprints, a thermos, a ratty blanket, and Emily's music binder. But no Emily. Someone had held her there, briefly, and very recently. "Sheriff's sedan is dark gray," Hollins said quietly. "Still could be him," Mercer replied. "Snow changes color under headlights." But another possibility tugged at him. Someone else with access to a sedan. Someone overlooked. "Pull the list of all registered sedans in town," Mercer said. Hollins typed rapidly. Her face drained of color. "What is it?" Mercer asked. "There's only one silver sedan registered in Fir Ridge." She swallowed. "It belongs to Susan Lorne, Emily's mother." When they arrived at the Lorne house, Susan was pacing and frantic. "You found something. Is Emily alive? Did someone take her?" Mercer watched her closely. Her anxiety was real, too raw to fake. Mercer asked gently, "May I see your car?" Of course. The silver sedan was dusted in fresh snow, but underneath, the hood was still faintly warm. "You've been out recently," Mercer said. Susan blinked. "Yes, around 1 a.m. I drove to the church to pray. I couldn't sleep." "Did you go anywhere near Timber Road tonight?" Her eyes widened. "No, God, no." But Mercer noticed her hands trembling. Then something else. A cut on her wrist. Fresh. Mercer asked carefully,